Hey, y'all. Hey, Spencer. We're swapped around again.
Huh?
We're swapped around again.
Yep, I know you do it on purpose.
Hey.
And here we are. Hello, everybody.
How's everybody?
How are y'all doing? Everyone in chat and everything. Who do we have? Oh, great day.
We got a few folks in here.
We got.
Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to work on fixing a banner for them. Almost had it done before it started.
Well, you can put up Mark and Rebecca's channel. That's fine. They need to know that. Hey, Abby. How are you?
There's my baby girl.
There we go.
Everybody. Anyway, hello, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell y'all something. This is going to be a good show. But before we get going, House, did you hunt today? You were out there this morning.
Yeah, I went this morning.
Did you see anything?
Yeah, I had a doe pop out of the thicket about, I don't know, she's probably 25 yards, come out and stood there and looked around. You know, me being crippled, I'm just pulling my truck up to the edge of the woods. She, that doe, like, looked around, her eyes got real big. She's like startled, like, uh-oh, that's not supposed to be there. She whirled and went back in the woods.
Sure.
About 20 minutes later, I had a 6-point come. There's a old wooden corn crib building I was parked next to. There's a 6-point, walks right beside it, about 40 feet from me, walks past my truck, gets past me. I've got the rifle out the window looking at it. I thought, well, he's too small. I don't want to shoot him. He was probably a 2-year-old deer, had a little small rack. And I let him walk by me. Yeah. He got just past me, and like he turned around and looked, and he done the same thing. He whirled and took off. But I'm going to let maybe Wanda or Abby will get a shot at him. I mean, I'm going to green light them to shoot him if they want to, but he wasn't what I was looking for.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if you let him go a couple of years, he will be.
Yeah.
And Squirrel, what happened to those raccoon hides? Your dogs get a hold of them?
Yeah, whenever we were hunting them. And that sucks so bad. It's horrible because they tear holes all in them. So,
what was you gonna make out of?
What I mean, like,
you gonna make you a scoon can hat?
A scoon can hat?
Yeah, what
you know what I meant. You know what I meant.
She's gonna make her a wintertime bikini.
It would be just my luck. She would have caught that.
She was gonna make a raccoon bikini.
I told Ray.
I know where you
love you, Ray. Sorry, I said I'm gonna make you a change purse. She's vegan, so.
Hey, Misty, if you'll tan it, if I can kill a good buck this year with a big change purse on him, I'm gonna let you tan it out and you send it to her.
Y'all, I shouldn't even tell this. This is horrible. When I was working on that hide, it was a male coon, and I literally started to send y'all a picture of my fingers tucked in there, telling you I was going to make a change purse.
I'm gonna send Ray some smoked brisket for Christmas, like with love. Ray, you pain in my ass. Hey, and I've been talking to a guy. Just wanted to say hi out loud to Mike Thompson. Mike, look forward to speaking to you some more. He is coming to the meet and greet. We have quite a few people coming to the meet and greet as it is right now. And if anybody that's watching the show wants to come, don't forget, it's not just our channel. It's us and Mark and Rebecca Green and Larry and Mark with Sawdust. And I'm sure Debbie Jones will be there, and there's going to be quite a few people there. Maybe some special guests that I can't really mention, but anyway, quite a few people coming. So if you want to go, email us or get on the Facebook page and let us know, or message us on Facebook if you're friends with us. But anyway, so we got a guy on here that is, he was on another channel, and that's how I heard about him. And this North Carolina story is really good. And you know, North Carolina is near and dear to me because that's where I grew up at. But he's got way more than that. Turns out he's got quite a bit of experience. But anyway, without any further ado, Mr. Mark Green and John. And John is Mark's cousin, as it turns out. It blew my mind. But anyway, Mark, John, how y'all doing?
Doing good. Doing good. Good to see y'all.
So,
you too.
John, now I heard your story just like not that long ago, about a week ago. And Mark had told me about you before, but I didn't realize that's who I was listening to. And whenever you said something about being Mark Green's cousin, I was like, well, holy hell, let me text Mark right then. And I was like, put me in touch with this guy. Your story for the North Carolina cabin thing is awesome, but you got way more than that to talk about. And I started talking to you, and turns out you've done all kinds of stuff. So for a lot of the people that don't know anything about you, could you maybe like give us a quick rundown of what all you've like done in your life, so we kind of have an understanding of who you are?
Yeah, well, as far as the living goes, I drove a truck 34 years. Been in every state in the union. Been all over the place, like that song says. I've been everywhere, man. But yeah, I've done a little bit of construction work, and I write books. I'm a published author, and I'm not married. I was married for 22 years. I'm not married anymore. I have 3 children. I live just down the road here from Mark in Tallapoosa County, down below Goodwater. There, it's about 25 minutes, something like that. But I was born and raised in Alabama. All my people from Tennessee, though, most of them, Tennessee and Carolinas. But yeah, as far as the Bigfoot story, you want to get into that?
Hey, anytime you want to, you go any which way you want. Is that the North Carolina story? Is that your first dipping your toes into the water as far as Bigfoot goes?
No, back in 1967, when I was 17 years old, there was a news came on about Patterson and the Gremlin Bigfoot footage. It was on the news worldwide, I guess. I took an interest in it then and wrote them. I joined the Patterson Bigfoot Club for $25. They sent you a 5 or 7 Bigfoot picture of Patty and a newsletter every month for a while. I was involved with that for about a year during my teenage years. And then I just lost interest in it. And over the years, I've always been a hunter and fisher. I've always hunted all my life, deer, coon, you name it, I've hunted it. But yeah, I took an interest in Bigfoot back in 67, but I never really got involved with it until all these computer stuff come on, all these TV shows started coming on about it. And
right.
I go to some places now where they're really remote on private land, and I get permission to go back in there. Most of them's got locked gates, but over the last, I would say, at least 7 years, I've heard a lot of stuff I can't explain. Vocals, and hadn't had too many sightings, but I've seen places where they might have been.
Right.
But yeah, I took an interest in it in 67, which is quite a few years ago.
Well, now, whenever you say you have access to a lot of these private property places, are you going in there specifically looking for boogers, or are you looking for rocks, arrowheads? What are you doing?
Well, I go looking for nature, anything nature. I'm I guess you could call me a professional photographer. I've had pictures published I do a lot of nature shoots and that type of stuff, animal shoots. I love nature. I always have. So that's the primary reason I go into the woods, just get away from town and just get out by myself, get close to nature and God, I guess you could call it that.
I can understand that. Well, let's get on to the North Carolina thing. I mean, I think it's great. Just start from the get-go, please.
Well, this is about 2021 or 2020. I have to go back and look, but I had rented a cabin up there in Woodie, North Carolina, close to Bryson City and Qualam, in between the Cherokee Reservation. It was right on top of a mountain, and the road was pretty bad. You about had to have a 4-wheel drive to get up there. But anyway, it was a magnificent, beautiful view. You could walk like 100 yards and see all down the river and the valley, all back toward Cherokee. But I had rented the cabin for 3 days with a lady friend that came with me. And that first day, we got unloaded and all, and we went around visiting Cherokee and back over to where the elk are and Pigeon Forge and just all the tourist stuff, messing around all day. We got in about 10:30 at that night, and we got showers, and she fixed us a little something to eat. And while she was in the kitchen, she heard a racket on the porch, and she told me to come there a minute, look out the window. And I looked out the window. I didn't say nothing. I said, it's probably just a coon, or it could be a bear coming up or something. We didn't think much about it. Went back into the living room there, and we heard it coming across the porch. Well, I said, it's got to be a deer or a bear, because it's not, a coon wouldn't make that much racket. About that time, it knocked over this vase out there on the porch. Well, I got up. First thing I thought was to get my pistol. So I picked my pistol up. And then we're standing right by the window there. There was a huge night light out on a post right outside the cabin. It shone all across the porch. Well, we heard the porch cracking. Then we heard some deep grunts, like I was deeper than a hog grunt, real deep grunts like. And then it come right in the window and turned towards me, but I couldn't see its face that good because the light from within was just lamps shining outside, and to his back was that night light. So it shined on the other side of him mostly. All I could see was a profile of some type of it was a humanoid, ape-looking, more human-looking thing in the face. The eyes lit up a little bit orange, but there wasn't much glow to them. But it stood there for a few seconds and then went on around the back side of the cabin and went up the mountain, I guess. But it shook us crazy. We cut every light on in the cabin, cut the TV up loud, locked all the doors, put chairs against the locks. We didn't sleep all night. We didn't hear anything else that night, but come daybreak, we got up. I put the key in the box outside and we left. And went and got some motel room. That's how bad it shook me up. And I'm not scared of nothing much. I mean, I've been that way all my life. I started shooting a gun when I was 7 years old. So unless somebody's shooting at me, I'm not really scared of nothing in the woods. But that put a fear on me like I ain't never had. I never have. It's unknown fear. It really shook us both up, especially me, because she didn't know what to think of it. When I saw it, having seen Bigfoot images before, I knew it was either a big old somebody in a gorilla suit, but that far up in the mountains, 3 miles from the nearest paved road and no other cabins, I said he'd have to be stupid to come up there in a gorilla suit at night like that. So I pretty much washed that out of my mind. Pretty much concluded what it was. And that fear has stuck with me. As far as I go, I don't really care if I never see another one unless he's 100 yards, 200 yards away from me. That's
right.
How much it should be.
Let me
I won't be around anything like that.
Let me ask you a few questions, if you don't mind. Whenever you first got there to the cabin, before you went out and did the sightseeing and everything, you didn't hear anything, smell anything, nothing happened like during the day to get your attention, did it?
No, all we saw was a red fox. There was a waterfall ran right in front of the cabin. And I got a video of that, but right across, there's an old log cabin dwelling right across from the creek. We saw a red fox come up the hollow there. That's the only animal life we saw besides birds singing. It was in the fall of the year. It was kind of cool, and it was kind of a misty rain coming down.
Okay.
But other than that, no animal life.
And so you went out and did the sightseeing stuff. You came back, you said about what, 10:30 at night or so?
Well, we had set up a little bit after we ate. It was probably about 11:30 when she went back in the kitchen to clean up. Yeah.
And during the whole thing, you didn't hear any screams, yells, whoops, nothing like that outside?
No, nothing like that. Just when it came across the porch, it made a few grunts. That's all we heard.
Could you, like how long and how deep were the grunts? Was it just one or two?
It's probably about three. It was a lot deeper than I can go. I mean, I don't know if you've ever heard a good sized hog grunt or not. It's pretty deep.
That's what I was going to ask you. If that, I'm horrible at imitating it, but was it kind of like a, was that even close?
Kind of like that, but much deeper.
Yeah, way deeper.
Yeah, way deeper than that. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of times these here, when they would come around, I'd be in a tree stand. That's what they would do. I've had them walk around, and they wouldn't do it just solid, but they would do that, and they would go a little bit, and they would do it again. And I couldn't calculate if they were grunting or if they was like kind of like getting some air, like really trying to smell. And I never have been able to really figure it out, but they would do that. And that's what I was wondering, if that was kind of in the lines of what you were talking about.
It could be just a nervous issue with them, or it could be like a notice that they're there, that they want you to know that they're there, could be a warning or something.
Well,
I wonder
you
if
would think it's
irritated, being irritated. Cause I heard that behind my tent one time, and that's it kind of like it got upset and aggravated, and it made just like a gruff, and you could hear it walk off.
But I'm 6 foot, and the window was a little bit higher than my head in the cabin, and the porch out there was a lot higher than my head. When it looked in the window, it stooped down, and I saw its shoulders, how big its shoulders and arms were, and the head had what looked like a little bit of a crown on it. The face was almost flat. You could see a nose line, but not much of one. Because it was dark. I couldn't, it's so dark, I couldn't really get a good visual on the face. Plus, I was nervous. And another thought I had, pick the camera up and get a picture. And then I said, no, I'm going to hold on to this gun. Yeah.
Yeah.
You want a picture of something,
Could you distinguish like the shape? Like was it like its head was down on its shoulders, or did it have a neck?
It didn't have any neck. It didn't have no neck. It just head and shoulders, broad shoulders, big bull. Huge thing, wider than the window.
Oh, really? Wider than the window?
Yeah, I couldn't estimate how much it would weigh, but it had to be over 400 pounds. I would say at least 400 to 700 pounds. Just me looking at it.
Well, but if it had to lean down to look in the window, what do you reckon? How tall you think it was? Just a rough guess.
It had to be over 7 foot tall or better, at least 7 foot tall. Of course, I don't know how old it was, or
right.
They come in different sizes. I mean, I don't know.
But 7 foot tall and wider than the window, there ain't a lot of people that would,
that's a person. He's a big person.
that's a big guy. That's a big guy looking to get shot snooping in somebody's cabin window in the middle of the woods.
Yeah. Well, in the morning, I went out. I looked for tracks, and I saw where the vase had been knocked over. I looked for hair on the porch, and spit, just anything that would tell me that it had come by there. The only thing I found was a vase knocked over. There's huge rock croppings outside of the cabin, around the cabin there. And of course it had rained too, and I didn't see any prints. I walked on out in the woods a little piece, but I don't know where it come out of the woods behind the cabin or beside the cabin, so I never could find any tracks.
What did your lady friend cook for dinner that night?
Grilled cheese, soup.
And there wasn't no food or anything out on the front deck?
Yeah, there's a plastic garbage can out there. I didn't look to see what was in it. The folks who come out of there might have left some food in it or something. Or I figured it might just come around because it was curious. It seen the lights on in the cabin. You know, if that's his territory, he might just come around, you know, boo-hooing or checking on who was there or whatever.
Yeah.
I think they're intelligent enough to know that. I mean,
were y'all playing any music in the cabin?
Nothing but the TV. I think was watching Gunsmoke.
Well, hold on. I want to ask a personal question. I'm going to get kind of personal with this. If she was still if she was still able to have her period, do you know by chance was she on her menstrual cycle or close to it while you guys were there?
Well, since you don't know who she is, she's past menopause, so they wouldn't no worry with that.
Well, I was just curious about that because I wondered if smelling her, if that was the case, and seeing you might have got it upset or something. So
she smelled pretty good. He might have smelled around. She smelled good enough for him to smell it, I reckon.
But yeah, Misty, what you're asking is a very legitimate question because it's well documented that seems to incite these things to make an appearance.
It is.
Well, that's why I wondered if it smelt her and then seen that there was a male there also, or you know, smelt him and kind of. I mean, you never know. Just thought I'd ask.
Hey, y'all. We try to take we cut up a lot, but we try to take the Bigfoot stuff serious. And we're going to ask some questions like that. I mean, that's just how it goes.
Just say it. I'm going to ask. You done warned them about me asking stuff. So
yes, we have to warn everybody backstage. Hey, we have no idea where Squirrel's going to go. She's liable to ask anything.
Yeah.
Hey,
no, it is a very legitimate question. So I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
You're going to have to get them to do an electronic signature on a disclaimer.
Yeah. Hey, John, you said that it had a faint orangish type eye shine. Could you see? Did the eyes look like they were far? Can you describe anything that you saw on the face in as much detail as you can?
Well, I saw what looked like a beard under his chin or the neckline there. The nose was not that big. You could see the brow, a little bit of a brow on his forehead there. But I really couldn't get a good look at the eyes. Like I said, the glare from the room, from the lamp, shone a little bit of orange in both his eyes. Not much, but enough to notice. Other than how big it was, the bulge of it, I didn't get that good a look at his face. So I was 3 feet from it.
That was my next question. I wondered how far physically you were from it.
I was standing right by the window. There's a lamp there and a little table. My gun and my phone was right there. I was looking right into it. But it was like I said, the night light outside was hitting his back or other side, and the lamp was throwing a little bit of glare in the window, so I couldn't get a real good look at his face.
Yeah. You keep referring to it as a he. Did you see? Was it like the musculature on it that gave you the impression it was a male?
Yeah, it didn't have any boobs. It didn't have any boobs.
Well, let me ask a question right quick. When you saw it and realized that this thing's right there, what did you do and what did it do?
When it came across the window, first thing I'd done, Well, the first thought to come to my mind is pick your phone up, get a picture of that. You need to get a picture of that. Then my other side kicked in and said, no, you need the pistol. Pick the pistol up. So I picked the pistol up.
There we go.
I didn't point it at it, nothing. I just held it down by my side. When it got about halfway in the middle of the window, it turned, looked directly at me, and then went right on. But the grunts came before the window. The grunts came as it come across the porch, cracking the porch. The porch was cracking up, making a racket.
So you picked the pistol up and it left.
Well, I don't know if it's because of that or it was just ready to go. It just went on though.
Right.
I didn't threaten it or nothing like that.
How close was you to the window?
I was right in front of the window. I was 3 feet within its face.
Oh, woo. That's a
Yeah, it is.
Once you experience that, like I said, you don't want to see one for a while. You don't want nothing to do with them. I do have a curiosity about who they are, where they come from, what they're doing here, how long they've been here, what they think about us. That's my issue with them. That's what I want to know. As far as messing with them, tracking them, going out and making pictures of them and all, I don't care. That's enough of that's been done already. I just want to know the facts and what they are, what they're doing here is what I want to know.
I imagine you didn't get no sleep that night.
None whatsoever. She slept a little bit along towards about 4 o'clock, I think. So she was snoring.
I'm gonna tell you something else. It's really not abnormal that, like a lot of people, myself included, after you have that traumatic encounter with these things, you'll have nightmares. You'll have maybe even light PTSD from it. It'll mess you up for a while, and it's hard to deal with.
Yeah, I lived by myself, and for about 2 weeks after that, I kept looking out the window.
Yeah,
sure did.
You catch yourself checking the surroundings out all the time.
Because I figured, there's some big woods behind where I live. They may be in there too. I don't know, because they do come into some urban areas. There's woods behind.
Well, there was a guy there in Elliott City that claimed to see one right there, right in downtown Elliott City one time, right there, going out 22 back toward new side in there.
I got several stories about Bigfoot in my area down here, though.
Yeah. Well, before we get off the cabin thing, let me ask you just a couple more things. This is going to seem random as hell, but did you happen to notice, did the battery on your cell phone, was it really low? Since it was right there at the window, was it really low after the thing? Did you notice any kind of anomalies? Did you experience anything even remotely close to like mind speak? Did you hear anything in your head? Did you get the creepy feels I'm sure if you're standing 3 feet away from the window looking at the thing, you're going to be creeped out. But was there anything that was completely unusual? Like you felt something, heard something, smelled something that was way strange? Anything like that?
There was no smells, anything like that, no electrical trouble, but something like static electricity or something came on me when I looked at it. I had this weird feeling like I was fixing to be lit up or something. I don't know whether it was my body temperature going up from the reaction, could have been adrenaline causing that, but there was that weird feeling that I had when I looked at it. That's about
just one more quick weird thing. Have you ever seen a UFO? Have you ever been struck by lightning? Have you ever died and been resuscitated? Anything like that?
Well, as far as UFOs go, I drove a truck for 34 years. Yes, I've seen all kind of stuff in the sky, and I was also in the U.S. Air Force, so I know when I see something that's not an aircraft or a balloon or anything. Yeah, I've seen all kind of UFOs, but I had a near-death experience. They only give me a 1% chance to live when I had open heart surgery in Birmingham. I was in the hospital 12 weeks. Thing is, I had sepsis with it. It set in on my heart valve. it nearly killed me. I was in UAB 12 weeks. And yeah, I had a near-death experience with that. Pretty much, yeah. You're not the same after that anymore either. I can tell you that right now.
I believe you.
You just thankful to be here.
Okay. So no premonitions, just weird, what we would chalk up to like psychic anomaly, anything like that. Again, hit by lightning, having things drawn to you like spirits or ghosts, spooks, anything like that. I just got to ask, we're just trying to compile like data on all this kind of stuff.
I never had any ghost experiences, but I have had a few spiritual experiences. When I was about 9 years old, my dad and I used to coon hunt a lot. We were with one of my uncles up in Clay County on a creek up there. It runs into Hatchet Creek. And we had got separated from some of the hounds, or the hounds had got separated from us. We could still hear them hollering. They was treeing something. Daddy told me to cut down the creek and go up this holler. He asked me if I knew where I was going. He knew where the big tree was. And I said, yeah, I'll go down that way. Well, we got separated. I got separated from them. And we had our trucks parked on the hill way back up the ridge there. And as I was walking, something started calling my name. And I first thought it was my daddy or my uncle. But it was in a deep voice, too. I actually wound up climbing up a tree and standing up a tree just about all night when I was 9 years old because of that. I don't know to this day who or what that was, because Daddy and them had come up the other side of the creek back up where the pickups were, and I was a long way from that. But I climbed down the tree at daybreak and walked up the dirt road, and they picked me up on the side of the road. They'd been looking for me a long time.
Man, that would creep me out.
When that voice called you by name, I mean, could you hear something walking, or could you tell anything else? Or you
I could just tell something was there.
You could tell it was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, right so there to the left.
You could feel it was there? Could you feel like the location of where it was?
Yeah, because it done it more than once. That first time kind of went off as, well, that's Daddy and one of them calling me, Then that second time I said, wait a minute. And then that third time, I didn't know whether the devil was after me or God,
Yeah. I'd have climbed a tree too. I'd have dug under a tree.
There's a lot of people
maybe they were watching, like have been watching you around the house and was trying to mimic your dad or whoever to try to like draw you off.
No, this was way out in the woods. It's on private property. The only visitors there would be cattle. He's got some cows up on a few hills around that creek, but there's no house within probably 6 miles of there. So, and he owned property. He owned the property. Most of it went down by the creek. So there wouldn't have been anybody in there at like 11.
No, do you think it could have been something that's been watching you around your house or something that was trying to, that followed you into the woods trying to mimic something that's familiar to you?
And if you had been there before and someone called your name, hey, John, come on, John, anything like that. I mean,
well, this is about 40 miles from where I live up in Clay County in the woods. It's not too far from Horn Mountain where we're hunting at. So it wouldn't have been anybody I was familiar with. So no, I wouldn't think that would happen.
I'm gonna jump out on the limb and say whatever it was probably wasn't a good thing.
That's what come to my mind, yeah. And then I got to thinking, well, maybe it's my imagination. And then when it done it that third time, I knew there was something going on inside of me.
I got something right here. My sister.
But in your mind, in your heart of hearts, when there's something's going on that you can't explain, you don't have any doubt about that.
Yep.
I'm pretty hard to fool. Like I say, I've skinned deers, coons, rode horses, mules, hunted everything. I'm pretty hard to scare. So, I mean.
At some point, we got to talk about all the stuff you've done ate. Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, John's ate everything under the sun.
Well,
What, like you talking about somebody calling his name, I've heard of many people bring out, and it even happened to me at one time long years ago. I wonder a lot of times if there's something on that old land where you're hunting, like an old house place, and they'll tell them what might be hanging out there, and it may hear other people call your name, like Misty was saying, or it gets used to you coming in there and starts following you around. I've often wondered that. You know, I mean, it's a possibility. We just don't know. But
well, I've also heard that Bigfoot mimics us. They can mimic a human voice.
Yeah.
So who knows? You know, I don't know.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of people say that whenever they think they have boogers on their land, like, and they have dogs and they let their dogs out and call their dogs back in. I've heard quite a few people talk about, hey, they heard a voice from the woods going, you know, if the dog's name is Jake, like mine, going, hey, come here, Jake, you know, or Jake from the woods. So, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. So beyond the North Carolina thing, now, obviously, you're in Alabama, and I've been telling everybody for a year, Alabama's the damn boogeriest place I've ever seen. You used to live up there close to Greg, weren't you, in Winston County at one point?
Yeah, I live between Addison and Arley at a place called Eagle. She's got 40 acres up there, the lady that I was with at that time. Her family's lived there all their life, Robinsons and Pattons. There was Cliff was a friend of mine who lived up there at that time, and he used to hunt for tracks and just different Bigfoot stuff, and he got me interested in it up there. We went all over the Bankhead looking for stuff, and we had a few instances happen there on the farm with our goats and donkeys and all one night. But if you've never been in the Bankhead, I'm telling you, there ain't nowhere else like it. Not even up in Smoky Mountains. The Bankhead's different than anything you've ever seen. It's there's some deep gorges and canyons. There's places to hide out. Convicts have hid out in there. I mean, there've been people disappeared in there. It's really wicked in some places. You can't, if you're not in top physical shape, you got no business going in the Bankhead.
Right.
I think I narrowed it down exactly who you was with up here, because I used to hunt in a hunting club. We had land that bordered that lady's land.
Yep. There's a big old gorge right there, the other side of the farm right there. Big old deep gorge.
Big gorge. But where they had the goat, where they had the goat farm.
Simple Life Farm. That was it.
All right. You know where they had the cement plant right there?
Yeah.
All right. We had that land leased, and the land across the road, we had an 80 right there that joined that land. And believe it or not, my wife's cousin was married to her son, the one that had all the old junk cars and stuff.
That's Richard.
Yeah. His wife Nacy was first cousins with my mother-in-law. Now, how weird is that?
She's since passed, you know. She's gone.
She did. But yeah, Nacy was my wife's second cousin. Sure was.
Did you ever know any Rivers people up there last name Rivers?
Yeah. Yep, sure did. Ain't that a small world?
I went to church with one boy up there. His last name was Rivers. Jeff Rivers.
Yeah.
We rode motorcycles together a lot.
Well, I'll be darned. From right there where her place is, well, from Richards, if you go to Addison, I live 2.5 miles from the red light. That's the only place I ever lived, right there.
Been all over Addison. That old guy that was on Green Acres, he's from right there. The old clown that was on Green Acres, what's his name?
Yeah, Pat Buttram.
Yeah, his brother used to live up in there. He's preaching at the Methodist Church up there.
Mm-hmm.
But where you were talking about across the road from the farm over there's some big bluffs over there going toward the lake too, back over in there. Big old bluffs.
There is. And also that land that I'm talking about that joined that farm on that side, when they clear cut it, we had that land leased for, I was in that club about 12 years. And we had 14 or 15 members, and all but 3 of us, I was one of the 3 that didn't see it, but we had the rest of the members, all except 3. There was a tan or a yellow mountain lion. I mean, they said massive. I saw mountain lion tracks that big, but just nearly every member of that club saw mountain lion tracks right there. We kept waiting on Richard's goats to come up gone.
Joe Parker, Lord.
You remember when Harris was sheriff up there?
Oh yeah, Rick was a buddy of mine.
Yeah, Rick used to come to the house all the time. He and I went and investigated a few things on Bigfoot.
Calm down,
And
Parker.
I was an auxiliary deputy up there for a while. But anyway, yeah,
I mean, I'm looking at you on this phone. If I seen you in person, you had to have seen me up here. You had to. How long was you up here?
12 years.
Yeah, if you was reserved, say I've been law enforcement here in the county for 15 years.
I've probably seen you. I don't know if you had a beard or not, though. It's been a while.
I didn't. I always had a goatee. It was pretty short, but I had a goatee instead of a beard.
House.
Yeah, I used to know a lot of people up there. That's like I say, Winston County is one of the remotest, roughest counties in Alabama as far as gorges and valleys and cliffs and caves and overhangs. And
yeah,
what I saw
that's the only place in Alabama where the spruce grows, I think, or the fir. It's not Douglas fir, some type of spruce, ain't it?
It's a hemlock. Yep, we got a lot of hemlock. Yeah,
yeah. You won't see that anywhere else in Alabama. Yeah.
House.
Well, you got the dismal caverns and all kind of stuff that's weird up there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Since you know the area that he's talking about right there by the concrete plant or the goat farm or whatever, and I think, John, didn't you say that goats come up missing and everything over there at that goat farm?
Yeah, we had 2 different instances. One time it was coyotes that got some baby goats out of the pen.
Mm-hmm.
And I shot at them, but the one time we had this thing come up down there by the fence. Everything on the farm was in the barn. Mules, horses, donkeys, all the 33 head of Nubian goats we had, everything was in the barn. The only thing that stood out was the little old donkeys. They had their ears straight up looking out toward the woods, out toward the fence line. We saw something out there. I don't know if it was a bear or a Bigfoot or what, but we did see something out there that night. It was a full moon too. I tried to zoom in, but I never could get a good picture of it. And I was scared to go out there around it.
Spencer, from where I'm at right here to where he's talking about, crow fly would be 5 miles, maybe not that far.
So that's all the same. That's all the same area. It's the same. Okay.
Matter of fact, where he's talking about he lived. If you went from the highway, turn in and go out to where he lived, and you kept going, this same river right here went right behind where he lived. This is Brushy Creek. Brushy Creek.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
There are a lot of overhangs on Brushy Creek too.
Lots of them.
Damn creeks, y'all. It's
a
the
lot
water.
of rock shit. Beat up with rock shit.
I'll have to bring him up one day and meet you, Greg.
Yeah, you need to bring him up here. Yeah, they are. But yeah, matter of fact, no joke, Spencer. If you got, no joke. If I got in the boat right here and went down the river, it wouldn't be 5 miles by the river. I don't guess it probably wouldn't be that far. And you knock another 1.25 miles off to where I had most of my encounters down here at that other place. So it's a 1.25 miles to there.
That's what I was getting ready to say. So it's going in the direction of where you had the other stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Richard had a friend up there. I was over at his shop one day. He had a friend over at his shop. He had a video of a creature in a cornfield on his land picking up corn off the ground with one arm. It didn't have but one arm. He had this on his phone. And it wasn't huge. It wasn't huge, but it was all black with hair all over it. But it didn't have the big, looked more like what they call a skunk ape or something. It's a little bit smaller than a Bigfoot. Of course, it could have been a younger one,
Yeah.
I actually saw that on his phone. That was something else.
Yeah.
One arm. Something got him or something. Had his arm blown off the shot.
I can probably find out who that was. I don't hardly ever say Richard, but I say James here and there. I don't see him a whole lot. You know, Niecy's brother. I say
That was down there in the Black Swamp area, west of Jasper. You know where that is?
I do.
Black Creek, Black Swamp.
Yeah, Black.
That's
Yeah, yeah, Black. Well, everybody here, most everybody grew up here calls it Blackwater, but yeah,
Yeah, they call it Blackwater too.
yep.
But
I'm
lived
down, man.
12. Good
Man,
people
that's
up
crazy, dude. That blows my mind. He was like right here, nearly in my dang yard.
Small world.
Mm-hmm.
I stayed by myself. You know, we stayed pretty much to ourselves all the time, except for going to church and go.
So now, did you lived right there by Richard and them?
Yep. Yeah,
All right,
it's an underground house off the road there. You can barely see it off the road there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Underground.
I don't know how I didn't know you. I thought I knew pretty much everybody right there. Matter of fact, when you come out from where you was living and you turned and went toward Arley, the church there on the left's where me and my wife got married 27 years ago. That's where we used to go to church.
Congregational church.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure did. Yep.
I've been there before.
Yep. Sure did.
Yeah. I love Winston County. A lot of good people up there.
Correct. Well, John, and then now you've been down there by Mark, and you've actually been up on like Creepy Mountain.
Yep.
A couple times, right?
Mark took me up there.
And you've had other random experiences down there where you are now and all around Alabama. Why don't you talk about some of that?
Well, if I go back to about 63 in Tallapoosa County, there were 2 hunters hunting down on Fox Creek, which runs into the Tallapoosa River. They panicked. They seen a gorilla-looking thing crossing the river there at the shows. It held its arms up above the water as it was crossing the river. They said it looked to be 7 or 8 foot tall. That made the newspapers back in the 60s. And then there's a place in Dayville that people call Booger Holler.
Yep.
There's a family that lived there back in the 50s that had 2 big hogs. One of them was about 200 pounds. The other was about 300 pounds. Something picked them hogs up out of the pen, stepped over the hog wire, carried them down in the woods a piece, tore all the guts out, threw them on the ground, and took the meat off. And it wasn't too long from that, one of his neighbors seen a monkey-looking thing down there in the woods. So that's how it got the name Booger Holler.
So hold on one sec. You're saying with a hog, it tore the guts out and left the guts?
Yeah, left the guts, just took the meat. A cat wouldn't do that.
That's interesting. Hey, Mogs, how are you?
Hey, Spencer, right. I'm gonna mute my mic where y'all can see what we're doing. I'm fixing to load up the dynamic. I'm back. I'm gonna load up the deer killing duo, and we're gonna just have it where y'all can see where we're going. But I'm fixing to go put them in now.
All right. Good luck, Misty and Wanda and Abby. Sorry.
I'll be back with y'all when I get settled in. So I will be listening, but I'm just gonna mute my mic.
All right.
Then I had some more friends that I've known over the years. I won't mention their names, but they got in contact with me because I knew Hollins area real well. With Mark, where we go a lot.
Yep.
Todd Standing. He's got a few posts on YouTube, and he's well known in the Bigfoot community. Some people like him, some don't. But he was real nice to me. He asked me to be his guide down here to go up into the mountains.
Yeah.
And he and I and a lady friend went up there, and we hunted for tracks and different things, but we didn't find anything, this one particular area. But he went out with some more people in the Talladega National Forest after that. But yeah, that was pretty special.
Did you say Todd Standing?
Yeah, Todd Standing. He's from up in British Alberta, Canada.
Yep,
up in there.
Yep. You know, regardless of what people in the Bigfoot community think about Mr. Standing, I've heard personally several times people that have met him in person talk about what a nice, genuine guy he is, and
He is.
that he is very much a very real woodsman and knows what he's doing out in the
Yep.
woods and everything. And I just think that speaks to someone's credibility. I'm not saying one way or another on the Bigfoot thing, but
He had a really good one of them $1,200 GoPros.
yeah.
Which I could
Go get another one of those.
Yeah. One of them really good ones.
Yeah, when I talked to him, he was a very nice guy. He was very nice.
Yep.
I mean,
Well, I mean, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, you know.
He's got one video that I'm right at the very beginning of it when we was up there on the ridge, but I can't remember which video it was. I don't know how many videos he's got either. Bunch of them.
Me neither. And did I hear you say something on another show? And I got to bring it up because just in the Bigfoot world, if you get into boogers possibly tearing up somebody or killing somebody, we just got to address that. You know how it is. But did I hear you say something about possibly a hunter being torn apart or something at the bottom of their deer stand? Maybe could you like run through, maybe not mention any names, but just run through?
Yeah, Mark can back me up on this. We have a few meetings up there at Hollins at the hunters camp way back into the hills there.
Yeah.
And years ago, this family that came up missing, one of their family members, a hunter that was in their family, he had a tree stand up there. Just, I guess you'd call it, it's west of Cheehaw, ain't it? West of.
well, no, it'd be south of Rebecca Mountains.
Well, south of Rebecca Mountain, right in there. But yeah, they found him. The sheriff's report said he had been killed by an unknown animal. His arms had been pulled out of his sockets. They said now. I didn't see this happen. I didn't see the body. All I'm telling you is what somebody told us.
Right.
And he's supposed to be pretty credible, so I don't really know.
Well, the report says that one arm was pulled off, one leg was broke backwards, and then it's like his body was twisted, like something just twisted him. And his gun never was fired. They checked his rifle. Rifle was never, and he was found within 10 foot of his tree stand. And some of the outings we have, people go up there, kind of like you do with the LBL with the kill site up there. Right. Down here, we'd carry people up there where it happened, about where, well, we pretty much know where it happened because it used to be a green field there. This was from, I think, the early 80s.
Something like that.
Around 82, 83 when this happened. And what happened, that guy didn't show up home, and his family called the sheriff's department, and then they got involved, and the Forest Service got involved, and the Alabama game wardens got involved because it was on a management area, which is part of the Talladega National Forest. And there is documentation of it. I've done seen it with my own eyes. So it's something happened.
The family put a hush on it, though. They didn't want publicity or anything.
Yeah.
I don't blame them on that. But Mark, just like you and I have talked about before, and in Mr. Bill White, Tal Bronco's book, which y'all can get the Kindle version of Tal Bronco's book. It's called Southern Bigfoot Files. Anyway, great. You should all download it for like $5 and read it. It is absolutely excellent. But Mark, like you and I have talked about before, there almost seems to be like a history in that part of the country that you live in with like hunters encountering these things right there at their stand, like coming down and having to fend off boogers or whatnot. I mean, how many times have you heard about that personally?
10 or 12 times. I worked about 4 of them. Let me hush this dog up real quick. Y'all go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to tell you something else. there's a creek just south of here in Coosa County. The name of the creek is Sockabatour Creek. It runs into Hatchet Creek. We've had a lot of reports of Bigfoot sightings on that creek down there, and it's real remote. I mean, it's on a dirt road like 12 miles back in there. And people go swimming down in there. There's a swimming hole up from the bridge down there, but the hunters have seen a lot of different things in there. Unexplained things. There's a lot of old home places back in there too.
Going up and down that Hatchet Creek seems to be just like a busy area for boogers.
Yeah, it is. A lot of woods around here.
Yeah,
Hatchet Creek has a lot of sightings on it, and it starts at the foot of Cheehaw and goes all the way down through Clay County, and then goes into Coosa County and heads to the Coosa River. So part of it's running right next to the National Forest, and then Coosa County is a very rural county in Alabama. Most of it's timberland. I think 3/4 of the county is owned by timber companies, and it's a very rural county. I forgot what the population is. It's very small, very small. It's one of the smaller populated counties in Alabama, and
has a lot of history though.
Has a lot of history. That is true, and a lot of booger sightings. Hollins is right there on the Coosa County line, and that's a very, very active place. And then they're all up. In fact, where the Hollins Hunters Camp is Little Hatchet Creek.
Yeah.
Comes by the camp. So, hey.
Oh,
but I got dogs acting. You know how it is with dogs.
We will, right? We will. Hey, John, you've been up on Creepy Mountain. I've only been up there once. I'm gonna tell you right now, I saw some stuff up there I've never seen before. And I've been doing this for a minute or two and been around quite a few many places in states all around me, and I saw some weird shit up there. Did you ever have anything happen up there? Did you ever see anything up there?
When me and Mark went up there, he took me around the lake and a few other places and showed me some spots on some dirt roads, but I don't think we didn't see much that day, did we?
No, it was real quiet. We didn't really notice anything out of the ordinary. I mean, it was in the daytime when we went. I want to say it was early spring, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And it was a real quiet day, real pretty day up there. But we didn't really notice anything. And, that's how Creepy Mountain is. Sometimes you go and it's wild, and then sometimes you go and nothing happen.
That's how everywhere is. You can go to the most active places in the world. You hit it at the wrong time, there ain't nothing there. I mean, that's just how it is. LBL.
That's the first worst smell I've ever smelled was when we went to Creepy Mountain with Mark and him. It was horrible. Like I've never really paid no attention to the smells or whatever of what these supposed things smell like. That was the grossest freaking smell ever, Mark, just so you know. Like I smell stuff around the house like that, and that hey, you win on that one, having the worst smelling booger around, let me tell you.
They must give that odor off when they want to.
It was bad. So. There's no way something that smelled that freaking horrible. I mean, it was like, I can't even explain it. Dead rat and wet dog and nasty ass. I don't know. It was all combined together. Just the worst smell ever. And it was only there for a second and then it was gone. So
they water in carnage,
Yeah.
They could water in carnage. Stink and rotted,
it was way worse than any coyote or anything you'll ever smell that comes through.
It was real pungent that night. It was a real quick smell. It was real quick. That's right as we got out of the vehicle, and y'all seen that movement on the other side of the lake. Remember we seen something shoot up through the woods, and it's about the same time we caught the smell. So it's hard to say, And we don't have no hogs on the club, so I know it wasn't no hog.
I've raised hogs. This wasn't no hog.
No, that's what I'm saying.
It was bad. It was horrible. I looked over at Sherry and I go, Sherry, did you shit yourself? She was like, you know better. It was
Sherry, Sherry, get Squirrel, get your niece. Get your niece. She's going off the rails.
Hey.
We had a few other little things. So,
John, I think you're right. I think the smell is probably selective. I think they can choose when they set that off, just from what I've seen. But anyway, well, what else, John? What about other parts of Alabama and everything? You ever experienced anything else?
I lived in Randolph County for 22 years. Deer hunted over there for a long time. Had a place up on Broughton Ridge. There's a lot of things goes on Broughton Ridge down there on Cornhouse Creek. There's a big Indian village on Cornhouse Creek named Cornhouse, or Hoot Archie. That group of Indians went down and fought at Horseshoe Bend. That same bunch went down canoes at Horseshoe Bend and fought with Manawa. But that whole area up there in Randolph County has got some big bluffs in it too, and a lot of woods. So that there have been a lot of spooky things happening up there, different things, Bigfoot and just all kind of stuff.
You know, something that comes to mind, these areas that you're talking about, like I know a little bit about where Mark is and a little bit about where Greg is. The North Carolina cabin place, you told me where it is, but I haven't looked into it. Have you ever stopped and looked to see the proximity, how close like Indian burial mounds are to any of this kind of stuff?
No, I know it's south of the Cherokee Reservation in Qualla, North Carolina. So that's all native Indian territory right in there. I don't know about the burial sites.
That's interesting though. I may look that up on my own. Speaking of stuff like that, hey, you were telling me that you do a little bit of like the Civil War and other period like reenactment and all that kind of stuff. What's that like, going out and doing those?
I've done Civil War reenacting for 20-something years, started about 1983, been all over all these battlefields doing reenactments. And I got out of that and got into Revolutionary War and long hunters. My ancestors were long hunters up there in Virginia. A couple of them taught Boone how to hunt, if you get into the research, Daniel Boone. But matter of fact, he served in one of my great granduncle's companies in the militia, Virginia militia. He was a lieutenant,
Really?
Captain David Lewis' company, yeah. But I got into reenacting years ago and been everywhere. Go up to Martin Station up there, not too far from where you're at, I don't think. We're next to Cumberland Gap, been there, and into Virginia at different reenactments, North Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, Florida.
Yep.
All over doing reenactments. I'm a honorary member of what's called the American Mountain Man. My physical ability won't let me become a real mountain man because you got to take a test. You have to go stay in the woods like 10 days with nothing.
Yep.
I wasn't able to do that. Plus, there's other things you got to do to become a member. It's a well-known organized group, American Mountain Man. They're real famous for the people the members and all. They know all the things about how to survive in the woods. Everything, I mean.
I've seen some of that stuff online. Their requirements they're pretty good. They're pretty stringent.
Yeah, I've thrown tomahawks for kids. We had about 4,000 kids come through down at Fort Toulouse one year. I threw tomahawks for them and taught them how throw knives, shoot flintlock weapons, all that kind of stuff. Make coonskin caps, fox caps, made a few leather jackets, a couple pairs of leather breeches, moccasins.
He just following in our kin folks. besides being gristmillers, they were tanners too. They tanned hides for a living. So
He just said leather breeches, Mark. That do you follow in your kinfolk's tradition? Because if so, I want to see you in a pair of leather chaps.
No, I don't do the tanning.
But it's work. Tanning is work.
Yeah.
I've only ever tanned a deer hide. I know, and that was work, but I did it the old-fashioned way.
If you use brains, it's work.
Yep.
You can use certain chemicals to do it too, but brain is nothing like a brain tan.
I ain't even saying that I had it come out very well. In fact, it was stiff and started flaking. I thought it was done and thought it was like all soft and good to go, but then it dried up again and got all stiff and started flaking. I probably didn't do it right, but
look, can you see mine back here? That's the first one I ever done. My coon back here.
I see it.
Can you
see it? Yeah.
Yeah.
When did you put that in there?
This thing's been hanging here.
Has it?
You got a nice old flintlock up there above the mantle too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a coon, ain't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a coon skin at the house. I've never done nothing with. But there's a guy here who he got these David Crockett reenactors who do David Crockett. I don't know if y'all know Al Bowler or not. He's a friend of mine. He done David Crockett at Fort Toulouse, Fort Jackson. I made him a coonskin cap. I made two more guys coonskin caps, and they wear them. There's one guy that goes up there to David Crockett's birthplace that wears one of my caps I made. I quit doing that. That's too much work. I was giving, I wasn't charging anything, just giving them away. So I quit that.
Do you make your own ammo?
Do what now?
Do you make your own ammo?
Somebody said, do you make your own ammo?
I've got the lead stuff. I usually just buy the round balls or the shot. I quit doing that. I have the molds and all to do it with the spoons and all that stuff. I just don't do it. It's nothing to it though. It's pretty simple to make. That's how they all had to make the shot back then. You couldn't buy none. You had it and made it, or you didn't have any.
They didn't go to Walmart.
You what kind of caliber long gun do you have that you use in the reenactments as far as the long hunters and stuff?
I've got a 63-inch long Flintlock. It'd be equivalent to a 20-gauge shotgun. I've got a 50 caliber rifle.
Good luck, Wanda.
I hunt with that 50 caliber a good bit.
Have you ever took a deer with it?
Nope. Sure haven't. But I gave my oldest grandson, I had a Ranger brown bess musket. I gave that to him. It shoots good, but it kicks real bad. I don't know if you know what a brown bess musket is.
Nope.
It's a big old heavy gun they used during the French and Indian War, and the British used them during the Revolutionary War. But the Ranger units, like with Rogers Rangers, they had a short version of it where you towed it through the woods better.
Yeah.
It's kind of like have a sawed off barrel. I sawed the whole stock off and make it shorter. But I've owned several Flintlocks over the years, traded for them, different things. They're fun to shoot. You just can't shoot into the wind.
The powder come back and get.
Yeah, a lot of them got carried away and done that when they was fighting too. Yeah, it's not a pretty sight to get powder in your eyes. Yeah.
I forged a Rogers Rangers type tomahawk for this guy one time. He wanted a replica made. I'd never heard of them.
I got all kind of tomahawks.
Yeah.
Got all kind of old blades. I got knives from the 1800s. I
really
bought a lot of them in the estate sale in North Carolina.
I'd like
I used to have more money.
That's all of us, ain't it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's probably good steel then from the 1800s.
Yeah, file steel, that kind of stuff.
That's a good steel. That's what a lot of people don't realize. Like the old farm implements, the old, that's where your good steel is at.
Yeah,
and man, you can make some stuff out of that stuff.
Yeah, Chinese steel ain't no count.
Yeah.
Oh no, no. You hit a point in this country about 1920s where everything started being mass produced and a lot of alloys got added in, and the steel from that time period just had so many impurities you couldn't harden it or temper it properly. But now we have super steels, which are even better than the old stuff. It just costs.
Carbon's good steel.
Well, yeah, any straight carbon steel. Yeah.
The old Pakistani knives made, you find an old Pakistani buoy knife made in the 60s or 70s, it's pretty good steel. The old Pakistan buoys, they call them.
Yeah.
They, me and his great grandfather, I guess you would call him a millwright, but he used to make chains and I guess millwrighted in that textile plant before the Civil War.
Yeah.
And is, in fact, part of the old building. You should have thought about it. You should have seen him some pictures of that and stuff. But
what, the old mill?
The old mill and stuff. This old mill is down there in the area from where me and his kinfolks actually come from. It's called Mount Olive and Bradford. There's nothing there now, but back in Sockapatoy, yeah, that's a crazy name, Sockapatoy. But most Alabama names are Indian names. So when we say something, it's usually Creek Indian. So, but there's an old textile mill down there built out of rock. And before the Civil War, they were making textiles there, and that's where me and his great grandfather worked at as a chain maker and probably millwright, probably keeping the machinery running. And it's a real neat looking place.
There's no oak tree there where the 12th Alabama Bee Company was formed up. Joseph Bradford was a captain in 12th Alabama. The big oak tree is still there. His old plantation foundation is up the road there, and the cemetery is out there in the woods. There's Indians and slaves buried out there in that cemetery.
That's
probably be a place to take paranormal. Be a real good place.
It probably would be. Can you imagine getting some of these folks that do the straight up ghost hunting stuff? If you went to a cemetery that had nothing but old slaves and old natives in it, I mean, it's bound to turn up something. There's going to be something's going to happen there.
Right.
Well, we were going back on that road back in the 50s when I was a child. Daddy used to take us back in there. I've got one picture of the old mill where it's still intact. It's done fell in the middle now a little bit. There's still a few windows in it. I've got a bunch. You can go on my Facebook page and you see I got a bunch of pictures of it. You scroll down, look up. You'll see the rock. You'll see the mill on my Facebook. I've got tons of pictures, hundreds of pictures of stuff.
He's got a lot of pictures of a lot of Alabama. If you really want to see what Alabama nature looks like, not Crimson Tide or Birmingham or Mobile, but if you really want to see what Alabama looks like, he's got some of the pictures, from nature back in the woods. And I mean, it's some real good pictures.
House is showing us right now what Alabama looks like back in the woods.
Yep.
Hey,
what is this that you sent, Spencer? Don't we have a video or something?
We do, and I completely forgot about that, Squirrel. I'm glad you reminded me. John, I don't know what these don't even start. It'd be like yesterday. Oh, if Misty wasn't there, everything's all messed up. Oh my Lord. Shut up, Ray. Anyway.
Gotta keep you in line.
I don't know what these are. You can tell us. So what's that right there we're looking at?
A friend of mine named Bob Wilson come over here. He's a cop in Georgia, ex-deputy marshal, that type of stuff. Somebody had told him where this place was up on Cheehaw, on the western side of Cheehaw.
Yeah.
If I had known what we had to do to get to it, I never would have went, because it's truly aggravating, truly snaky, just a bad area to go into. But once you get up there on the ridge, there's huge rock outcroppings and overhangs and caves up there. The guy told him that this particular rock thing here had been there. He knew before the 1930s that this was there. They don't know if Indians built that or hunters, but some of those rocks are probably weigh 300 pounds on the left side there. They're big old flat rocks. We couldn't even find where to pick them up at. Huge rocks I'm talking about. They're not little rocks. That's not a little cave. You can stand up in that cave right there.
Yeah, them are big rocks. You can look at them.
But there were caves up there.
It's like a windbreak, like somebody's been living or staying in there.
Yeah.
It reminded me of the adobes of Pueblos out west. You know,
Yep.
they use rocks like that.
Is that the same area where you got growled at that time, or was that back down on Bull's Gap where you got growled at?
It wasn't this area.
I'm sure, Diane.
You have to go down the dirt road. You go back over where they've been logging a little bit. It's about 6 miles back in the woods. You have to park, walk across a field that's been clear cut. There's nothing in that field but briars.
Yeah, that wasn't
Nothing but briars. We got scratched up and skin up all over going through there.
Oh, yeah.
Then once you get past the field, you go over one little hill. Then you can see the ridge up there where all this is at, where those caves and big outcroppings are. And copperheads and timber rattlers are bad in that area too. That's another thing I didn't like. We all had guns. We all had pistols on our sides, and I always take a walking stick with me, no matter where I go. So we were prepared, but this particular cave right there that you got up now, there was some big bones in there, big old, look like cow bones, where something drug a cow, bigger than deer bones.
That's weird.
Were they cracked or split any which way?
A couple of them were burst open. Yeah, looked like they got the marrow out of them, but
Like
we didn't see any signs of any big cat or anything. We got panthers up in here in this part of the country, black panthers, and you got the pumas here, the mountain lions. You got bobcats, coyotes,
Occasional bear.
and you got these wild dogs. They got a name for them here. They mixed in with the coyotes, coy dogs, I think is what they call them.
Yep.
But I don't know of an animal big enough to drag a cow up inside that mountain and put it in a cave, though.
John, whenever you say the bones were busted open, were they split lengthwise or kind of broke in half?
Both.
And the
Split
marrow
and
was-
broke open, yeah.
There ain't much can split something open with, but it has hands.
there ain't much that splits bones open lengthwise.
Right.
Huh.
There were rib cages in there of smaller animals and just a pretty good pile of bones. But they were old. They'd been there a long time. There wasn't any stink or nothing in there.
How far do you think the nearest cow pasture was to it?
But we were in the Cheehaw Wilderness. There's cows going back toward Mumford over that way. When you get past that first little old church, there's farms back over that way. That would be the nearest.
The way you said it'd be how many miles you think?
7 or 8.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I
So
don't know if these people gonna tow the cow that far.
something in nature grabbed a cow and snatched it up, drug it 7 or 8 miles, took it to a cave.
It could have been a big cat. The cow could have strayed from the farm or something, got up in there. You know, it could happen that way, but we didn't see any tracks or anything, so we couldn't confirm what killed it.
What is this the same cave?
Comes out on the other side, yep.
Okay.
Goes all the way through the rock. Then there's a place in there where you can go to either side. Grown man can stand up in there. Anything probably 8 foot tall can stand up in there. It's pretty high ceiling in it. Once you get in it,
Huh.
it opens up.
That's cool.
I thought those the only pictures I got from you, Mr. I take pictures, you know, like of nature and everything. Where's the other pictures, John? Where's the other pictures?
Did you send him any more?
That's all I sent you. I got tons. Just go on my Facebook page and look through my pictures and upload any that you want to.
Tell us about your book.
Yes, tell us about the books.
Well, our great-great-grandfather, he fought with the 59th Alabama, and they never had a book written about their history. So I endeavored to write one. I got involved with it when I was living in Randolph County. I've been doing Civil War reenacting for years, it took me 7 years to write that book because there wasn't much on the unit. So I traveled all over Virginia and Tennessee and North Georgia doing research on it.
I'll be back.
And Pelican's my publisher out of Gretna, Louisiana. They published the book. It's around 200 pages. It covers from this area up in the northern Virginia, Chickamauga, Cumberland Gap. They served all up in there. It's a pretty good book. It got a lot of good reviews. It sold pretty good in Europe and here. But I got another book I've been working on for about 4 years on the long hunters in my family. And after I got sick for a while, I just kind of let go of it. But I'm fixing to get back involved with that. I still have all my manuscripts and all, and my pictures. It takes a while to get pictures together to put in the book. It should do good.
What's the name of the one? I just downloaded it. I ain't read it yet. Is it Gracie's something?
Gracie's Alabama Volunteers.
Gracie's Alabama Volunteers. I'll throw a link up at the end of the show. I'll put a link up in here so that if anybody wants to look it up, and y'all, it's only a few dollars to download the Kindle version. The hardback version's only $30 or whatnot, but you can read John's book if you want to. And I've talked to the man a couple times this week, and he knows a lot about the period wars and all that kind of stuff. So should be good.
It has
John,
a history of history.
I'm sorry. John wants, or Joe wants to know your Facebook name, if you want to give it, to go on and check the pictures.
We don't care about what Joe wants to know. Joe, we can tell you. Parker, we can tell you his Facebook name after the show.
Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah, you'll wind up with some weirdos on here.
ask
Joe's
Misty.
one of them.
Misty gets crazy messages and stuff on Facebook now.
I have lots of videos on my Facebook page too, tons of them. If you really want to see Alabama, and you can make friends with me too, Misty, if you want to. He can tell you my real name.
Look at Ray.
I get to know Joe.
Where's all the moderators? Somebody kick Ray out. At least like pause her for like 30 minutes or something, so I can concentrate on the show. Damn it, Ray. Hey, Dee Dee. By the way, hey, Dee Dee.
Y'all, if you got any questions or anything that you want to ask, go ahead and do it, and we'll ask here in just a second, because I know I've got some start up here. Let's see.
I'll throw this in. I've been in 2 movies too.
You've been in 2 movies?
2 TNT productions. I was in Andersonville, about the prison camp in Georgia. I've got several good shots in that. My daughter was in it too, my youngest daughter, and my ex-wife, one of my ex-wives. But I was also in Gettysburg.
Easy.
Georgia. Over to Georgia and done an artillery scene for Gettysburg for about 2 weeks, but stayed over there at Sonoya, Georgia the whole time Andersonville was being shot. I'm at the start of the movie all the way to the end of it. I met all the people that were in the movie Lonesome Dove. You remember Lonesome Dove?
Oh, really? My gosh, yeah.
Yeah, I met all those guys, except for, well, Robert Duvall and Tommy Lee Jones weren't there, but most of them were in the movie. And Sam A was in Gettysburg, and a few other big time actors. But he kept it himself.
Were you in you're talking about the docu-series Gettysburg?
The movie Gettysburg, TNT production.
Yeah, but it was in several pieces.
Yeah, it's a mini series.
Yeah.
So was Andersonville. It's a mini series.
Yeah. You were in Gettysburg?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
I made good money with the Andersonville movie. Though one night they done a scene with the dogs. When they got the dogs out, I used an attack dog when we were hunting the Yankees down, the prisoners. Yeah. I'm in one of those scenes too. So it was fun. We had a good time. They fed us really good too.
Huh.
Really nice people, TNT.
Damn, if I'd known that, I'd have had like clips of the movie or something. John, you didn't tell me that.
Well, I won't brag on myself, you know.
And now you're on our little rinky dink YouTube channel. Hey, here's a TNT movie star and an author. And an author. He's got books out there. And we're like, John, tell us about Bigfoot. So,
well, I actually had an interview with the director during the movie while the movie was filmed. He liked my hat. They done some close-up shots of me with my hat on, but they culled them. I must have been too ugly. Yeah, they culled them. We didn't use them, of course.
One of our friends, Wendell, had a question for you. He said, what made him look out the window whenever the booger was up on the deck? I reckon is what he's talking about. What made you look at the window?
Because we were standing right there and we were hearing these squeaks and cracks coming across the porch, and I just looked out the window to see if I could see anything. That's when it showed up. We were both standing right there.
Hey, whenever you looked out the window, John, were you looking and saw it move in front of the window, or was it already at the window whenever you looked out?
Dark shadow moving slowly, then the full view of it, looking straight at it through the window.
So
when it turned sideways.
So you were looking out the window and actually saw it move a little bit?
It come across the window just like it was going on up the hill, yeah. But kind of in a slow moving, It wasn't real fast.
Did anything stand out about the way that it moved? Jerky, really smooth, unnatural.
All of it stood out.
I bet.
It scared us. I mean, I never seen anything like that. She hadn't either. She's a city girl, so I mean, it was. I don't want that experience again. I'll tell you that. I don't. I'm not going out looking for Bigfoot.
John, I don't ever want the experience of being 3 feet away from a window where one pokes its head in. Not even one time.
I do. I was hoping at Greg's it was going to happen, but
you lie. You lie.
No,
you lie.
At the end, Donna was like, "You're not leaving them blinds open."
You lie. You didn't leave the blinds open, and whenever Mark Newbill walked inside and they started whooping at you, you were yelling for Mark. Oh, I want that experience. You lie. You lie.
No, you don't understand. It was an excitement. Like, get your out here, get off the pot, quit.
No, you're so full of it.
You got to hear this. No,
you were excited until you were worried. That's what it was.
Y'all, Spencer would know if he's ever actually been out in the woods with me that I don't run. I'm not running nowhere, but he never shows up to anything, so he wouldn't know that.
That is low blow. That is low.
Yeah, we don't know enough about Bigfoot to come to any conclusions about how their personalities are, what type of character they got, how they maneuver in the woods, how they know where to go. We don't know. Everything's speculatory. There's no expert in the field. It's all speculation.
It is. There's no experts in this. We got a few characteristics sometimes we can point out that we think that's it, but we don't really know that. Sure.
Maybe they're like us. They have moods they're in. Maybe sometimes they feel like tearing somebody's butt up. I don't know.
Well, I've pointed out with a lot of these Facebook pages, and I'll stand by this, Facebook pages or YouTube videos, everybody wants to see one. They want to see the next video, the next picture of what they think is real booger, a real Bigfoot. But my thing with it is, and it's okay for people to disagree with me, I don't care so much about the videos or the pictures of them. I've said before, if one was hit and on the highway and if there was 100 people standing around poking it with a stick, you would be able to tell what it looks like, how big it is, how ugly it is, if it smells, all that kind of stuff. that doesn't tell you anything about them. Doesn't tell you what they are, how they do what they do, how they live as a unit, how they move, what they eat, their language, if they have one, you know, what they communicate with, if they travel through portals. It doesn't answer a lot of our questions. And everybody being drawn into the videos and the pictures, in my opinion, in the Bigfoot world, it's kind of you're asking for problems. That's why a lot of people hoax stuff. They hoax stuff on YouTube and on Facebook to get a bunch of clicks or likes and views and all that kind of stuff. And they're probably muddying the waters for those of us that are asking the questions like, what are they? What are they? How do they do what they do? I mean, I think it's a deeper thing than just a picture or a video and being able to see one, in my opinion.
We're going back thousands of years of Bigfoot. We don't, they're an unknown being. So we're dealing with the unknown when you mess with Bigfoot.
I agree.
Anything that you can't figure out, you better stay far enough away from it so if it figures you out, you can get away from it.
Well, I mean, I go out in the middle of the woods and do calls. I don't know what I'm saying. And that could, at some point, that could be a really, really bad thing.
Yeah, you don't want to be another 411.
What is that? What?
Lord have mercy.
Oh, you've missed it. They've been cracking on you through the whole chat.
Have they? Have they? Did anybody say anything about last night? Did I get away with last night? I think I deleted the videos in time.
Why didn't you just come on live last night and be done with it?
Do what?
That way we can come in and carry it on.
I told you third time was a charm, Mark.
Misty, I told you. It's Franks and Beans. Franks and Beans.
Franks and Beans.
We laughed. Oh my God, we laughed. Then me and Ray got to talking to each other and
I know Ray saw it. She was in there.
So freaking funny. Hey, we're gonna do an after hours one night, y'all, like a comedy show type thing. And Ray's gonna come on and we're just gonna do a big roast. So for anybody that's listening, if y'all want to come on and do this, we're planning on it very soon. So we're gonna take turns, like we're all gonna sit and talk about everybody. So
and Greg, did you ever get to go to the penitentiary?
Did I do what?
The penitentiary, they call it, in the Bankhead.
Yeah. Matter of fact, where the penitentiary is, my brother lives across the road.
He does.
Yeah, he lives directly. If you walk out of his driveway and just angle to the left and go about 100 yards, you'll fall off that bluff.
It's a big old square in there, rock bluffs, where they kept prisoners.
Yeah, matter of fact, from where I'm sitting, crow fly right through here, it's about 1.5 miles to the penitentiary.
Yeah.
Wow.
You go to, I'm sure you've been to Natural Bridge too, right?
Oh yeah.
That's pretty. There's a little natural bridge too, just west of Addison up there, northwest there.
Yep.
We went out and seen the one right there at your house.
Yeah, that's where he's talking about, Misty, the one that you and Sherry and Donna went to.
Yeah, that was
really, really get some vibes around in natural bridges too.
Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, that where that little natural bridge where you're talking about, 28 years ago, let's see, 28 years ago, I think it was in April. This coming year will be 29 years ago. That's where I proposed to my wife.
Sure enough.
Yep.
Feel married.
It was cool.
It's been tough.
One tree just coming up where there's a hole right there, and that was Greg. I just caught that. Oh God, you're lucky one day there. Get him, Wanda.
She can't shoot me from where she's at.
Abby,
have y'all had any experience with things?
Better.
What, John? I'm sorry, Squirrel talking.
Have you had any experience with these things called flying rods?
I haven't.
They look like a caterpillar, except they're rainbow colored. They light up at night, iridescent at night. They just fly through the air. People pick them up on trail cams and with any kind of night vision camera. They don't know what they are. We saw those.
I've got several of them.
We saw those.
I've got several pictures of them.
I just thought it was some type of insects until she told me they didn't know what they were. It's some type of phenomenon.
Huh.
They look like flying caterpillars or something.
I think they fall in there with the orbs and all that. I think that's some kind of the same stuff. I think. Now I may be wrong, but a lot of times people see them things around where the orbs are too. And Misty, was you seeing orbs too when these rods were coming around?
Well, no, we weren't seeing anything, Mark. I just caught them on the camera. I've caught them when it was like super, super cold, when there's no bugs around. But we would be out doing something and you'd get that weird feeling and just start taking pictures and then you'd catch them.
Yeah.
I've got one that looks like some kind of, it's not a spaghetti noodle, but it's, what is it, Spencer? The curly noodles. It's not that long.
Macaroni.
I don't know what it's kind of like.
Greg knows about all the booger stories in Winston County. It's full of tales and legends.
Yeah, I know a lot of it.
Greg knows
The bad
about
part, but a lot of them's mine.
Yes. Greg is mentioned in Bill White's books, just like Mark is. So, and for those of y'all, if you haven't ever seen it, go back and watch one of our first episodes with Greg. Go back and watch the Sawdust Beast episodes with Greg. And Greg was on a couple other channels, Big Dog T2B and everything. If you don't know about Greg's history, whenever he was, how long ago was it, House? 20 some years ago? Right about 20 years ago?
I started dealing with boogers over 20 years ago, but the first and only podcast I'd done until just a couple of years ago was that with Chuck Slabs, and that's been, I guess, 2008, probably 2010.
It might be.
And then
the video he's talking about is from Chuck Slab's old show called Chasing the Beast. I don't know if that's still out there. But anyway, all of Greg's stuff, I mean, it goes back years ago, y'all. You can go watch it on different YouTube channels, and that way you'll know what we're talking about when we reference House.
They don't have me on here because I'm pretty. We'll put it that way.
No,
Greg, you ever know any Farleys? You know any Farleys, Greg? Farleys,
Yeah.
I know. I got a lot of. He used to run the feed store there in Jasper.
Okay.
Farley, got a son named Jay. You ever know Jay?
Yep.
Me and Jay's been Bigfoot hunting up there around on the lake above Jasper there, where all them big hangovers are. You have to get in a boat, go up there.
Yeah.
Tons of arrowheads been dug out of there too in Walker County. Tons of them.
I've got one of these days. I'll try to bring some of I got a bunch of like shadow boxes at the house. And the thing about arrowheads, you have to keep them somewhere. If somebody breaks in, they're going to steal them. But I've got a gun safe. I've got, I don't know, 7 or 8 big like shadow boxes. It's got little pockets. I've got dozens and dozens of what I label museum quality. And this stuff these fields that I've just drove through, when we used to plow these, there's no telling how many dozen up in these fields. We find them over at my place, and my mom and dad's house is only a mile up the road, but we got big bluff shelters on our personal property. And from the time I was 4 and 5 years old, my older brother was taking me digging with him. Was of course digging on our own land, but yeah, we find all kind of arrowheads here.
So you've been up to Sipsey River Fort too, right?
Oh yeah.
If y'all never seen that, you need to go. Like I was telling you, there's nowhere else like it in the South or out west either. It's a whole different world.
Well, John, you was talking about Rick Harris a while ago. When Rick was sheriff, Rick asked me to be part of he had set up the Bankhead Forest search and rescue. It was comprised basically of the sheriff's department and then the local fire departments. And Rick asked me if I would help him out on that. And y'all, you talking about something that's a chore? Walk yourself off in these canyons, and I'm talking about John can tell you we got canyons up here. And the furthest I've ever hiked in, we had a lady that got lost, and we hiked in like 11 miles to get her. We had the boots on the ground. They plotted it. It was about 11 miles. We walked in to get her. We had to cross the creek 2 or 3 times. We got to the lady, and she had twisted her ankle, and there was no way we could get her back out the way that we went in to get to her. So we had to go from down the Sipsey trailhead. We went in on the Randolph, and we found her where the Randolph and the Sipsey meet. And the Sipsey River, I could jump across it right there. It was about 3 inches deep and about probably 5-6 feet wide. It was just a branch. It was like 3 branches came together. And we had to walk that lady down to the Sipsey River, became a river there at the Sipsey River picnic area. That's where we came out, and it was about probably 13 miles to get out with her. So we hiked about 24 miles in about, I think it took us 16 hours, and we got the lady out. But yeah, I've been in here and had to get a lot of people out of this place, and that's what's so bad. A lot of people come here think they're in a city park. You don't need to bottle around out in these national forests unless you know where you're at, know how to use a compass. You got some safety gear and some provisions, and you need to make sure that somebody knows where in the hell you're going and when you're supposed to be back.
Yep, a lot of people disappeared in there. You got bluffs in there over 100-foot drop off.
We had a guy that fell the other day. It was a guy, I forgot, he wasn't from here, but the guy fell. They said about 80 something feet. They were in there hiking, and they got turned around, and he fell off of a bluff.
That's bad.
I've seen some of those bluffs right there on your land. I wouldn't want to fall off of that.
Yeah, this old boy, it didn't kill him, but they had to tote him out in a stretcher, and they airlifted him to either Huntsville or Birmingham.
Hey, and seriously, can't stress this enough because this is our channel. I have to say this. If you're going in the woods after boogers, Bigfoot, anything like that, even if you're going in camping, if you're going hunting, anything, y'all know what you're doing. Know some basic survival skills, how to stay alive, because I promise you, you can step in a sinkhole and break your ankle and just be in a world of trouble quicker than you can blink. Do not just randomly go, hey, I'm going to go look for Bigfoot, and just walk out in the woods completely unprepared.
Like I said, from a first responder standpoint, one of the most valuable things you can do is have a competent adult know where you're going, at least general area, and know what time to expect you to make notification that you're out.
I highly recommend it.
Yeah. And it was like one time I stepped off in a stump hole in Talladega National Forest coon hunting one night. If I ain't had 2 other guys with me, I would have been stuck there because I could not push myself back up. Because when my feet went down, they just wedged together and went up under a root, and I could not move my feet. And them boys had to get a hold of me, and I'm a big guy. I mean, everybody's been around me. I'm a big fella. I mean, I got a gut now. I used to not have a gut, but, they had to wrestle to get me out of there. And one of them finally had to get on the side and kind of get down in there and try to get my feet. I mean, that's his head stuck down in there trying to get, my feet out from under that root. I mean, I was stuck. And if they hadn't been there, we was 2 miles away from the nearest road. And, that almost turned ugly, So, I mean, anything can happen.
It don't take but a second to get hurt real bad.
One thing here, and I'm sure it's like that down there at Talladega, but up here in the Bankhead, what a lot of people don't realize is when you're going through the woods, if you run up on like big, massive oak trees a walnut tree or a pecan tree, anything like that, or a fruit tree of some kind over here in the middle of this forest, you better stop right then and start looking around for a depression in the ground, because
Yes.
there is piles of old dug wells on these old home places. I mean, they may not have been a home there in 150 years, but odds are there's a dug well somewhere, and you can fall yourself in a dug well.
Yeah, we found trees in the bankhead where people had carved their names on them in the 1800s. One was way up. It was 1790.
On Greg's property, he's got some of the stones that have some of the carvings impressions on them.
Mm-hmm.
My kin people run a tavern there, Looney's Tavern in Winston County. They used to have a play up there all the time.
Yeah.
Y'all, just so you know, this is a spot, S-P-O-T, GPS. I know, showing it from my phone. But that right there is a messenger and a SOS beacon. It runs off GPS, and it's only $99 right now. It's $99 right now on both Cabela's and Bass Pro. You hit the button, that goes immediately to emergency services, and it will message through GPS or through satellites. I'm sure you probably have to buy a separate program for it, just like I got a Garmin InReach, and it costs a lot of money. It costs like $30 per month to leave it on, but you can select like which months you're leaving it on for. So if I know I'm going somewhere way out in the middle of nowhere, I pay $30. I turn it on, but it's got the SOS beacon on it though. Works all the time, whether you have the $30 a month program or whatnot. But the SOS beacon works. So if you get out in the middle of the woods and you get in a bad way, you can hit that, and emergency services are going to be notified, and they get your exact GPS location. It's $99. If you go out and do stuff like this by yourself, you should have something like that.
Spencer, one other thing, I mean, I doubt that would work if you don't have cell service, and up here it's iffy. But you can get a satellite beacon that I think they cost a good bit more. But somebody's going to be out a lot by themselves, it would be worth, even if it was kind of expensive, to do that.
I don't recommend going by yourself.
This works on satellite.
There's too much going on now to go out by yourself. I don't recommend it at all.
Well, no. I agree. But for those of you that do, this works off satellite. It's $100 right now. It's on sale because it's that time of year. Just saying.
Yeah, another universal sign if you're lost in the woods is to shoot up in the air 3 times, pause for a little bit, shoot 3 times more, and continue that as long as you can do that. And I mean, a lot of people don't know of that. Most people that grew up here pretty much know that, but it just depends on what time of the year, I guess it would be. It depends on if it's hunting season or not. Spencer, you heard they was 2 guys that got lost down here in Alabama, and luckily they were together, but it was a guy from there across the Georgia line. So it was a Georgia guy and a guy from down at Auburn.
I've heard this joke, House.
You heard it, right? I mean, they started shooting up there. They shot 3 times and gave it 10 minutes, shot 3 more and gave it 10 minutes. And he continued on like the 4th time. And his buddy says, I think you need to try it one more time. Said, we haven't got any help yet. And the guy said, well, I would, but this is my last 3 arrows.
Don't laugh at him. Don't laugh at him, Mark.
Yep.
That must have been the Georgia guy.
There's something on cell phones they can track you with too, believe it or not. The government's got that on your cell phone.
They can track you with you. That's a whole different. John, don't get me going down that road. That's a whole different. They'll track you whether you know about it or not.
I know.
Have y'all talked about when he done the missionaries missionary work and all that. And when you were down there, did you ever talk with the natives about Bigfoot or any of that while you was in there? Well, you might want to talk about the missionary work first, then you can go.
Well, done missionary work for 11 years in old Mexico, and took my son and my youngest daughter with me on most of the trips. A lot of them they didn't go, but I went with Brother Joe Worsham a lot and Brother Carney out of Tuscaloosa. We interdenominational bunch. We built churches and orphanages down there in the mountains back in Sierra Madre. Mostly Comanche Indians live down there where we went. They've got a creature like Bigfoot down there in the mountains. They got these panthers, they got jaguars, they got dogmen, they got all kind of UFO sightings. I mean, we're talking about Indians now, not Mexicans, but they've seen all kind of stuff back in the mountains. You go to Tamaulipas, you go across the border, you go into Ciudad Victoria, you can go up into Monterey, you can go over to the next state across from Tamaulipas where the big mountains are. They see all kinds of stuff in there. So it's a weird place to go to. They got all kind of legends and stuff. And 11 years there, and then I done mission work out west with the Hopi, the Navajo, the Zuni. Me and Brother Jim done work out there. Then we went to Jamaica one time, done a little mission work. But yeah, I had a real blessed time doing missionary work. One of my best times in my life.
Even not talking about Bigfoot or anything, I bet you had a lot of cool experiences and stories with all that.
Yeah, in Aguacate, Mexico, there's a cave way up on top of a mountain, and the mountain's about 8,000 foot. And the Spaniards built a ramp off the side of the mountain with spring water run down to the village. We walked all the way up the side of that mountain into the cave. This thing is huge. It goes way back in there. And we were told not to go up there because they've been seeing something come out of that cavern where they get the water from. But we went up there, me and Richard, a friend of mine from the site, and we didn't see anything, just a few fish, and it took us all day to get back down. But that was interesting. And I've seen guns from the Alamo, supposedly.
Really?
Just Spaniard helmets, just all kind of stuff there in old Mexico. You know, you get back to the mountains, you find all kind of stuff. Most stuff like that we found was hid. They wouldn't tell anybody about it. They wouldn't show it to us unless you begged them. I mean, just kept on. I give them a little money to show it to you.
That's cool.
One place we went to a town called Tula, and it's known for brujas. It's known for the witches. We got scared in that. We felt a lot of demonic presence in that town. I'm serious. The real deal. Not Hollywood, but the real demonic presence. We didn't even go back there anymore to get provisions. It scared us so bad. Brother Howell nearly got arrested. They was going to put him in jail. We pitched a fit about that. Wound up giving the old cop about $60 American money.
Now, why was he going to arrest us?
Just because we're Americans.
Oh, you're American.
To shake them down. To shake them down. John, we're going to have to get you back on, just talk about all your travels and all of that kind of stuff, not just even anything with Bigfoot. Hey, wait, John, you've been to Mexico and you live in Alabama. I got to ask you, what do you think about Alabama white sauce?
Uh-oh.
Don't care for it. I make my own sauce.
I'm sorry. My speakers went out at the moment. What did you say? You don't really care for it? Is that what you said?
I make my own sauce. Yeah, I don't care.
Make your own sauce, like your own regular barbecue sauce.
Yeah, sometimes I do. Yeah, I don't like white cheese dip neither.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, we can't even be friends no more.
That's what I'm thinking.
I can eat it, but I'd rather have something hot. I like hot sauce. I like the hottest stuff you can eat with Mexican food.
I get the greatest guess.
I'm fixing to divulge one of the next shows. I'm giving out my white sauce recipe, and we're gonna let them all try it at home, and then we'll go.
That ain't gonna be a show. That ain't gonna be.
We were dipping rolls in it.
I got a squirrel recipe in one of the cookbooks in Weston County.
Yeah, I'd love to hear about how you kill and
Squirrel.
cook a squirrel. Go ahead and tell me.
Oh, I love
Well,
squirrel.
If you can get a mess of them from the woods that you kill, you skin them and gut them, then you wash them off real good. Put them in a big old pot, boil them for about an hour till the meat starts falling off the bone. Take the meat off the bone, pour a can of chicken broth back in where you had your bones, a little bit of butter, a little bit of olive oil, salt and pepper, and a little garlic if you want to. Then you take Mary B's biscuits. I hardly ever roll my own biscuits, but I have done that. But you can take Mary B's biscuits that you can get in Walmart, cut them in little chunks. And once you get your water boiling with a squirrel in it, go in there with the squirrel, boil it for about another 30, 40 minutes. And you got yourself a meal.
Oh yeah, that's a food staple in Weston County. Squirrel dumplings.
Well,
They're good fried too.
we do that up here, except for we add not just like chicken stock, but we add milk to it. Make it like a creamy gravy, kind of like sausage gravy.
Stuff them with peppers and grill them. That's good.
Hindquarters on a wild rabbit is good too.
What? What did you just say? Stuff with
hindquarters on a wild rabbit.
Oh, I thought she was talking about squirrels. She was like,
I am talking about a squirrel. Stuffing the rib cavity with peppers and grilling them. They're good.
That'd be good too. You can grill them.
Heard that in my life.
You can grill rabbit too.
Now, Misty, did that look like a rat when you got through cooking it?
It was horrible. Y'all, I got to tell you about this.
Oh,
yeah, they are rats. They're tree rats.
Oh,
get through.
when we
They
first
are.
got
They're tree rats. That's right, Diane. They're tree
I
rats.
cleaned one and stuck it in my mama's freezer, and she wasn't expecting it. And my sister come over. We were staying with her while we were trying to get our electric on here, and I thought she was going to die when she came in and pulled this out. And y'all, I'm sorry, but the little hands had done been cleaned, so everything was gone except for just the head and all that. And she was freaking out. She was like, "What in the hell have you put in my freezer?" I was like, "It's a squirrel. It ain't a rat, I promise."
Groundhog's good too.
Stop it, Mark. We've already talked about this. Stop it.
I've never had groundhog.
Well, hey, might as well go ahead and get into it for a minute.
It's a lot better than possum.
Yeah, see, everything's better than possum.
Here we go.
I never have wanted to eat a coon. Most people brag on coon.
I don't care for coon.
I'll tell you honestly, all joking aside, the area I grew up in, North Carolina, there were shacks on the side of the road that literally they would sell like parts of hams and everything that supposedly were like salted or smoked, but they would sell like coon and possum and all that kind of stuff. And I ain't ever tried it, but I've heard a lot of people say that raccoon is actually good meat. I ain't ever tried it, but
I ain't tried it. I've cleaned them, and I ain't.
The meat's really dark. It's tough. I don't care for it.
Yeah, you have to really. A few times I've ate it. I guess the people knew what they were doing with it.
A few times you've ate it. A few times I've ate it.
Hey, Mark Green's tried about everything, y'all.
He had Mark Green makes no talking about chitlins.
He was raised up.
If you'll eat chitlins and mountain oysters, you'll eat anything.
Well, I ain't big on the mountain oysters now.
You ain't big on them, but you ate them. What the hell is wrong with you?
Now, hey, I have cut it off at the armadillo now. I cut that off.
The armadillo.
I left that alone. So
we don't have enough. Look, we've been over 2 hours now. We don't have enough time to go into it. But John and I were talking on the phone the other night. John's ate everything. John's ate like lizards and all kinds of crap. So
yeah, they eat iguanas in Mexico.
See, here we go, baby iguana.
Yeah.
I tried snake for the first time not too long ago, and I thought it was actually pretty good.
Fried
Alligator's
rattlesnake.
pretty good.
Awesome.
That's
Alligator's
y'all.
pretty good.
I love alligator. Love it.
Barry Browning. Hey,
We don't try
Yeah,
any polecat. They're not too good.
Oh,
I-
woo!
alligator
How'd
and
you even
rattlesnake.
pass the smell to clean
That would
it?
be good.
Alligator and rattlesnake both are two of my favorite things. They're
Depends
great.
on who's cooking it. You got to eat it while it's hot. If you let it sit a while, it's got a little funky taste to it.
Yeah,
I
they
ain't
just
never
like
let it
rubbing
sit a while.
bigger and bigger when you chew it.
Just like frog legs, you let them sit a while, they get that old
Frog
funky
legs?
taste to it.
Yes, frog legs do get funky. Yes, I agree.
Eel,
Well, I can
eel's
tell-
same way.
A little possum on a half shell. Jeffy.
I-
What?
Two things that y'all brought up. I can tell you one thing. It was a Winston County deal. If I ever wanted to get chewed out when I kill squirrels for my grandpa, the squirrels better have the head still on them. And if we went frog gigging, you didn't just cut the legs off. You had to skin the whole frog. He would fry the front legs, the backbone, and the back legs. He'd fry the whole frog.
Yeah.
You
Well-
raised up gigging.
Y'all, we've been at this over 2 hours now. The email
Oh, wow,
address is
really?
down there. And just so everybody knows, I've got a couple people that want to come on and talk about like some stuff that they have experienced. I'd like to have another one or two to like fill in a couple hour show. So if you guys have had some stuff out there, even if it's just a little bit of stuff, a little bit of things, email us, talk to us, message us on Facebook, whatever, let us know. So maybe we can put together a show of like multiple people with the stuff that they have had happen and everything. I'll put a link for John's books and everything. Check that out if you wouldn't mind. Might get John back on to talk about all this random stuff that's not like Bigfoot related. This guy's been all over and knows all kinds of crazy stuff. No, what? No. Anyway, is that, did YouTube auditor say that? No, what are you what? No. But anyway, and we had the meet and greet coming up. So if anybody wants to be a part of that or whatnot, let us know. Forgive the lives from last night, which they've already been deleted, but that was crazy. Don't even start, House.
I don't know why you deleted them. You should have just left them. That you can't help that
No.
you can't work the internet and know what you're
So-
doing. So
Well, y'all had a line.
Don't
he
start
had
Mark
two
Green.
last night. I tried to get him to do another one. I told him third time's charm.
Why didn't y'all
Franks and
text me?
beans. Franks and beans.
Franks and
Because
beans.
it didn't last but about 5 minutes.
Everything kept crashing. I don't know what happened, but whatever. Ray's like, I love that.
Enjoy.
I don't even. River's probably still frozen on the internet. River ain't been able to like do anything online today. But anyway,
Oh God, bless him. We can't never get him to come on and at work. I think it's just he's either got shitty internet or he's just so far away that it's just when we start getting people on, because my internet slows down.
I think that's what it is. I mean, he's, all the way across the ocean, like way far away. And he always freezes up and pauses. But last night it was bad. And like I just looked up and there was a black screen. I didn't know what was going on. And then Misty had to tell me about Greg, about you just sitting there like, I don't know if I'm talking to anybody. Because I couldn't see it. My stuff froze up. I don't know what was going on.
Greg was lost. River comes on with this pink chicken talking about a chicken in a glass.
I couldn't see chat. I couldn't say nothing. I thought, well, I may not even be on here. I didn't have no way to know.
Well, John, we'll get you back on maybe to talk about some of this other stuff.
Yes.
But hey, just so you know, Greg was right there with you in Winston County and knows a lot of the same people. So we'll get y'all hooked up and everything.
Beach in
Anyway.
Winston County.
y'all, thank you everybody that was in the chat tonight and everybody that watched. Y'all have a great night. Take care.
Y'all go
Think I
check
got
out his
another
book.
good one for next week. What?
Yep.
Have a good one.
I said, be sure to
See
go
y'all
check
later.
out his book.
Yes, check out his book. We'll put a link in there. What's it called again, John? What's the name of the book?
Gracie's Alabama Volunteers, A History of the 59th Alabama Regiment.
Gracie's Alabama Volunteers. You can get a Kindle version or the hardback version on Amazon. I know, I just bought the Kindle version today. Anyway, y'all check it out if you get a chance. Everybody, take care. See you in a little
Big love,
bit.
everybody.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, John. It was nice to meet you.
You
Bye,
too.
y'all.
You too, Ray.
Bye.
Bye.
Squirrel.
Hey, y'all. Hey, Spencer. We're swapped
Hello,
around
everybody.
again.
Huh?
We're swapped around again.
Yep, I know you do it on purpose.